Okay, we're going to make my pumpkin soup. This is such a great one because you only generally have it around sort of one time of the year, but it's so velvety smooth and just a little bit different and really easy to do. Obviously, you can see there's quite a lot of pumpkin, but the good thing about this is it freezes absolutely fantastically, so you can make a job lot of it and then freeze it down, and then you can have it still later in the year. So all I've done is just chop up the pumpkin into little triangle pieces, so you can see they were the original shape of it. Just makes it easier, and we'll roast it like this in the oven, and then when the skins will come off a lot easier once it's been roasted. So it's as simple as we just need to pop them on the baking tray. Due to the amount that we're doing, I've obviously got to split it over 2 baking trays. But if your pumpkin's smaller, that's absolutely fine as well. There we go, and I'll just bring this up. Now we just need to drizzle over some honey. So just using a teaspoon, the way that honey just drizzles like this, we'll just drizzle just nicely, making sure that each bit of pumpkin gets some of the honey. There we go. And then we'll just do the same on the other tray. And this is a good one for me because I don't actually like the taste of honey on its own, but sometimes as an ingredient it just adds just a really nice flavour to it. So that's that done. Then next we've got our sprigs of rosemary. And you might have seen me do this with thyme, but it's the same process, really easy way of getting it off. It's just if you hold the stalk at the top and then just run your hand down, it should strip the stalk clean and you're left with bits of rosemary. We don't need to chop them or anything, we just need to scatter them over the pumpkin. I'll just use 1 stalk for each tray, and then you can just leave the stalk in as well because that will all have smell and flavour in it as well, and when that roasts it'll release the flavours too. So we just do the same with the other tray. Oh, there we go. And just scatter it over like that. And then lastly we just need to season with salt and pepper, and we are making a lot here, so you do need to be nice and generous with the salt. Just making sure that each bit gets some of the salt. And we'll do the same on the other tray. The smell of rosemary is fantastic. You can smell it already, and it'll just perfume the squash perfectly. And then the same with pepper. And you can see it on the squash, just making sure that each bit gets nicely speckled with the pepper. And the same with the other tray. And don't worry if some of the pieces don't have any rosemary on it, it'll all get flavoured together. Don't worry about that. There, see how easy was that to prepare. So all you need to do is pop this in the oven now for 45 minutes, and then when you take it out, just leave it for 5 minutes, just so that when we come to take the skins off and handle them, you're not going to be burning your hands. It makes it an awful lot easier. So 45 minutes in the oven, then leave it to rest for 5 minutes. Okay, I've taken mine out of the oven it's been 45 minutes, and I've just left them to stand for 5 minutes so that they're not too hot to touch. Hopefully yours are looking something like this. They've gone sort of nice and charred on the outside, but a knife will go straight through them nice and easily so that they're perfectly cooked through. So all we need to do now is chop them up and take the skins off. So we can do this at the same time. Just going to chop them into little pieces. It's all going to go through the food processor, and the skin might peel off, but you might have to ease it with a knife. Oh, no, these are coming off easily, but it doesn't matter if you have to ease it off with a knife. So we're going to do all of these and then just pop them straight into your food processor. I'm using one of the little smoothie attachment things, but one of the bigger, rounder food processors is absolutely fine as well. So just throw them straight into the food processor once you've taken the skins off. And it doesn't matter if they mush up a little bit, because it's all going to get pureed anyway. I'll give you a chance to wash your hands in a little while. And what we're going to do with this is, because there's so much of it, we wouldn't be able to put it all in the food processor. You may have an industrial sized one, but I don't. So we're going to do it in a couple of batches with some stock, and we'll sort out the consistency when it's in the pot afterwards. That's absolutely fine. So this is the only laborious bit, but as you can see, it's nice and easy anyway. The skin should just come off easily. There we go. This might take a little while. So there we go. So you get the hang of it anyway, so you don't need to see me carry on doing this. So just go and just pause the video and wait till you've finished, and we'll get on doing this at the same time, and when you come back we'll be ready to blend. Okay, I've chopped all of mine up. I've got half in the food processor ready to go and half on my board, and I've washed my hands. They will get dirty again, but don't worry about that. So now we just need to blend. So just pop the food processor on. Excuse me, need to turn it on, that would be helpful. And then we're just going to add in some stock. And I asked you to make up 1.5 litres of stock. My measuring jug only takes 1 litre, so I'm going to add some more water in afterwards. But we'll sort out the consistency when it goes into the pan. So all we need to do is just puree the pumpkin that we've already got. So I'm probably just going to use half of the stock. So that's just over 500 that I've put in, but you don't need to measure it out. And then pop the lid on and then blitz it till it's fairly smooth. Okay, see, it's a little bit thick at the moment because we want to get it nice and smooth, so we're just going to add in a little bit more stock. Pop the lid back on and give it another blitz. See how that's looking? It's looking nice and smooth. So we can just pour this straight into our pan. Just watch you don't splash yourself. It should be nice and smooth. Let me hold this up so you can see this. See, it's really thick at the moment, but we'll sort that out afterwards. It's more of a puree, but we can just water that down. That's absolutely fine. So while I've still got clean hands, I'm going to go and bring in my kettle and refill my measuring jug. There we go. So that'll be 1.5 litres in total that I'll have used. So then it's just a case of blending the rest of it. So in it goes, and we'll go and wash our hands once we've done this. And then that's the last of the messy hands, I promise. Okay? So just go and wash your hands. Okay, and now it's just exactly the same process again. So in with some stock, lid on, and give it a nice blitz together. So go. Okay, it's the same as before. It's a little bit too thick, so it's not able to blend it properly. So just add in a little bit more stock, and then blend again. A little bit more again. All we're doing is just getting this so that it's the same consistency as it was in the first half. That makes sense, which I hope so. There we go. Hopefully you've stopped as well. And just pour this in with the first lump. See, it's really thick at this stage, but we can just thin that out with water from the kettle. It's absolutely fine. So hopefully you've still got just a little bit of stock left. Good idea just to pop this into the food processor and pop the lid on and give that a little whiz together, and it'll just get all the rest of the what will be the puree from the food processor. Okay, and then pour that in. Right, so we're done with the food processor now. And so I'm just going to make some room and bring this into the middle. And now we just want to get it to the right consistency. And the easy way to do this is just to add a little bit more water straight from your kettle. A little tip though, if you're going to freeze this, you might want to freeze it at this stage. Because it's really, really thick, what you can do is you can freeze this in smaller batches so it uses up a lot less room in your freezer. And then once you've defrosted it, just add the water to thin it out slightly then. But we'll just thin it out now just to get it to the right consistency. And it's absolutely fine to use water because we've put enough stock in to start off with, and the pumpkin and the rosemary have enough flavour in so that you don't need to use more stock. How are we doing for consistency? I think a little bit more water, but this is where you can just get it to the consistency that you want it. Go and just stir it in. And then lastly, we just need to add in another pinch of salt and pepper. So a nice pinch of salt and a couple of twists of pepper. And give that a stir, and it's all done. Just ready to ladle into bowls. Perfect. And I hope you enjoy it.